All right, let's bring in our table on this. Jeannie Zaino, professor of political science at Iona College. Basil Smikle, political strategist and adjunct professor at Columbia University. And Andrew Whitman, who you met earlier. I want to go around from different perspectives. And just imagine for a second, an English professor did this, and there was a camera. And professor hummed, something from the blackboard to kids, called the kids an effing F, fill in the blanks here and all the rest. How long, Jeannie, would that person be employed at the college?
Not for a second. And this speaks to the role that sports, and particularly basketball, play at some of these big colleges. There is a must-win mentality. It is all about money. These student athletes are treated more like workers and employees than they are like student athletes. There's no excuse for this behavior, as your last guest just said. I don't care if it's happened in other sports. I've never seen it. Now, I'm not an athlete. I've never seen it. And to have a student whose scholarship depends on pleasing a basketball coach abused in this way is unacceptable. And I agree with all those people from Rutgers who said the administration's response to this is unacceptable.
Because you just hit on a really big point. These kids' scholarships are in the hands of a coach. And what people don't realize is, oh, these kids get 4 years free ride. You get hurt, or the coach decides they want to use your scholarship on something else, you're out on the bricks. And you got to wait a year if another school, if you're lucky, will take you and give you a ride, Basil. My question is, imagine it's your kid now. Your kid on video is caught getting smacked around or getting hummed basketballs at him or whatever else. The college has seen this and knows about it for months. They decide they're going to give the guy a 3-game penalty and fine him 50 grand. And you learn about it with the rest of us, and your kid keeps quiet because he doesn't want to lose a spot on the team.
Right.
Imagine your reaction if you're watching this 2 days ago.
Well, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. I think that's one of the most significant parts of this entire scandal is that, and it smacks of what happened in Penn State. You knew this has happened. You took certain steps to deal with it, but you didn't really tell the entire story. And it's been months since it actually happened. This video was created and distributed not of your own accord, but you were sort of forced into it. So I think it smacks of what happened in Penn State, and I think that's part of the slippery slope here, so to speak. I will say, I think we're also at a different time. I mean, this is something that probably happened a lot, maybe 50s, 60s, 70s, but we're at a different time where, because you can put things on video very easily because of the 24-hour news cycle, because of the speed at which information like this and video like this can move through the blogosphere and through the internet. I think you have the kinds of reactions that you're having. The language is bad. There's no question about it.
But the coach knew. Nobody debated that this was a gray area. There was a clear line that he didn't tiptoe over. He leapfrogged it. And Andrew, if I had to pick a university, with the exception of Penn State, that when they see the video, you're now the AD. Imagine you're the AD. You get the tape. You sit down with your administrators, because you always do CYA to make sure you're not the only guy in the loop, and you say, all right, take a look. And he hears him saying what he did at the same school where a kid committed suicide because of cyberbullying over homophobia, and he says what he says. Not that this should matter, but the guy's lost for 3 straight years. It's not like Mike Krzyzewski at Duke or whatever, who's an institution, right? Why, for a millisecond, didn't they bounce him then and there?
Institutional protection. I mean, it's protecting a high-profile, visible person
really
within your university. If you're the AD and this happens under your watch, then you're culpable also.
If you asked 100 New Jerseyans, how many of them do you think could name Mike Rice as the coach of Rutgers?
But it's still the head coach of the Rutgers basketball team. I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything, and the team certainly wasn't winning, but it is a high-profile position, and it's also talking about dollars that's coming into the university.
What do you think is going to happen now?
Oh, I think it's much worse now, but again, it's all about protecting what you have, even if it means risking dollars and risking reputation going forward. And we see this again and again and again at universities across the country. I mean, I was thrilled. I think Iowa State just asked the NCAA to put it on probation because of recruiting violations. That's one of the few times I can remember a Division I school saying, hey, penalize us, we haven't played right.
And I'll tell you what it's not about, because I agree with Andrew completely. It's not about the students, and that's what it should be about. First and foremost, they should protect their health, safety, well-being, and education, and that has not happened. Rutgers was protecting their brand, whether basketball won or lost. They have a brand they wanted to protect. They need to enroll students in that school. They didn't want to risk that, and they didn't think about those poor kids that transferred and those poor kids being abused by this coach.
And you know what? if we remember around the timeline, this was right around the time where Rutgers was leaving the Big East and they were getting into the Big Ten with all the dollars that are attached, especially to football, with all the big contracts attached to that. We don't know, and I don't want to ascribe motivations right now, but certainly I'm not going on a limb when I said Rutgers, as you said, put the kids second here and put themselves first. I don't see how the DA survives this thing here, and I think maybe some administrators could be in for a rude awakening, but we, of course, are just beginning to cover this story here. Okay, we take a quick break. We come back, another big story that really broke yesterday, that surrounding the corruption bust. We're going to hear from a Republican Assemblywoman on just how often pay-to-play actually rules New York politics, and we'll get some insight from the table as well. Stay with us.